All right. Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to all the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 144% sincerity, to the men, women, and children listen learning, to the Bahashem Devadat, the house of David. All right. This is Men of Valor, Las Vegas Camp. Coming to you today through the will and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai with the lesson. All right. And the title, Slovakia.
The title of this lesson is going to be called Too Many Choices.
And so, without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and, get into the scriptures and dialogue, a little bit and, let the Spirit take us where we need to go.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. Reads, Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat.
So many are the enter at the strait gate, all right? And that strait gate is the truth, all right? And to understand the law, statutes, and commandments, and understand who this Bible is truly written for. All right, this is the straight gate, but only only a select few, all right, are going to get that. And matter of fact, let's go ahead and pull that out.
You want to get verse 14?
Yeah, you can read 14.
This is verse 14. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
Few there that be that find it. And that's talking about everybody won't find this gate, all right? Everybody won't find the way of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, okay? So let me go ahead and read this. This is going to be the book of Zechariah, chapter 13 and verse 8, and it reads, And it shall come to pass that in the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts there shall be cut off and die, but the third part shall be left therein. All right, so 2/3 of our own people won't make the cut, all right, because salvation is not for them, not understanding that this broad way, all right, is a narrow path. That's why it says, read that again for me, 14.
All right, this is Matthew chapter 7 and verse 14. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
Yeah, you be there that find it. Straight is the gate and narrow is the way. All right, so that means you coming in through any other way but the straight and narrow path. All right, you can't seek salvation and receive salvation by calling on the name of the Labrador, the Golden Retriever, Buddha, Krishna, whatever abominable name you want to call upon, and their abominable laws, whether it be through their sacrifices or whatever,
You think of when somebody is called a straight edge, they don't partake in other activities the so-called rest of the world, does. They're a clean-cut manner and have a higher sense of morality.
God.
Proverbs 14 and 12. And it reads, There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
Hey, there's many ways that seem right unto a man. Look at Jake. Look at everybody who's stuck in the world. Everybody's so prideful, and always thinking that they know everything. Afraid to receive a correction or even ask a question. So you don't have to receive the correction if you would ask the question and seek the knowledge that you're looking for.
Right. What are those ways that seem right? That's the ways that of Esau that he has put in the place. That he has everybody following. They seem like they're the right ones, because they're the norm of this society.
God.
Proverbs 19 and 21. And it reads, there are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand.
God. Slakia.
It's still on. This is.
Oh, go ahead.
All
Read
right.
that again.
All right, this
I
is,
thought it was paused.
this
I
is,
just gotta put on do not disturb.
Thank God.
this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 21. And it says, there are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand.
And the counsel of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to stand forever. And it doesn't matter about the devices that you have in your heart, because Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to give you correction. All right? Whether you be of the nation of Israel or whether you be a heathen nation, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to render you correction. All right? All the way across the board.
Proverbs, it's going to be Proverbs chapter 16, verse 9. And it says, a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps.
God. Hey, the Lord directs everybody's step. So your philosophy of free will, all right, thinking that you're absolutely free to do whatever you want. The Bible tells us different. Read it again. Huh?
This is Proverbs 16 and 9. A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps.
The Lord directed his steps. And your heart is your heart, your mind, all right? Your mind is deceiving you. Is deceiving you that you think that you have an option. Why? Because you're following after the ways of Esau, Edom, your oppressor, you know? And this system that has been set forth, this captivity that you're in.
You know, who ultimately created our own thoughts, you know?
God.
Book of Philippians. Book of Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. It reads, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Verse 9, those things which ye have both learned and received, and heard and seen in me, do, and the power of peace shall be with you.
God. So what are the things that, you know, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Seminole Indians, Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Guatemalans, Argentinians, all right, all the way down to Uruguay, you so-called Mexicans as well, all right? What are the things that you're hearing, that you're seeing, all right? It's got to be a strange and peculiar sight to you, seeing men out on the highways and byways, you know, teaching and proclaiming that you are the children of Israel. You know, you would have never thunk it. You just think you're a gangbanger. You know, you think that you have no what's the word I'm looking for? No heritage or honor. All right, you think the heritage that you got came from trapping, you know, or your dad having that car shop or that Mexican restaurant. All right, or whatever feeble, you know, substance that was so-called left to you before this man comes in and tries to take it. All right. How about Shemi Yahushai? And matter of fact, get Exodus for me. Exodus 19 said you're a special peculiar treasure unto him. You know.
So it's going to be the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 5. And it reads, now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenants, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
See, how about Shemi Yahushai has you as a special peculiar treasure unto him. You know, and there's just so many more things that if you would take the time, all right, and study to show thyself approved. All right. When you inquire, when you see men out on the highways and byways teaching and preaching this truth, or you see, the Akwat out there who have husbands, or maybe don't even have husbands, but have their head wraps and, are trying to obey the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability, inquire about that, but you just choose to go through life as if you got it, all around, all together.
All right, next is it's going to be Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. Verse 5, it reads, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding." Verse 6, "In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths."
Like you said, Yahweh Shem Yahushua said, "Lean not unto thy own understanding, and trust him with all your heart." All right, and your heart being your mind. All right, and trust him with everything. If you're willing, look, how many stories have you brothers heard of people doing anything? What is that saying? By any means necessary. By any means necessary. Well, this is necessary. All right, and this is the means. This is the means for you to get up out of your hell, for us to go home, our true home.
Because read it again.
This is Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding." Verse 6, "In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths."
So after you humble yourself to the truth and fully understanding it, not going on your own opinions and thoughts, that's when the Lord opens up those paths for you, to go into that straight and narrow gate.
Oh.
Because there's so many other routes you could take, but they're not going to get you there.
Oh.
There's only one way into salvation. That's why I said, it's so small that only one man can enter at a time.
Oh.
And this is going to be verse 7. Verse 7, "Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil."
Hey, fear Yahweh Shem Yahushua. In the beginning of fear is wisdom and knowledge. Read that again.
Proverbs chapter 3, verse 7. Verse 7, "Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil."
Fear the Lord and depart from evil. All right. Matter of fact, what is that? Jeremiah. The beginning of fear. Is the beginning of
This
All right.
Proverbs. It's Proverbs chapter 1 and 7. It says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction."
God. So you despise wisdom and instruction, but it said, go ahead and read that. Hold that right quick for me again.
All right, this is Proverbs chapter 3, verse 7 again. "Be not wise in thine own eyes."
Be not wise in thy own eyes. All right. Don't think you know everything. Don't be afraid to ask a question either. There's no dumb question.
Fear the Lord and depart from evil.
Fear the Lord and depart from evil. All right. Truly fear. All right. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Truly fear what is unseen. All right. What is unseen to your eye. All right. But you know that it exists, because if you in your father's line goes back to the 12 tribes of Israel, you have that fear. You have a certain amount of fear of the unknown in you. That's why you do the things you do. That's why by any means necessary. All right. But your fear is of wickedness and not of righteousness. You don't reverence the Most High as you should.
This
Go
is
ahead and pull that again. Once again.
This is Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction.
Okay, so you despise wisdom and instruction. As a matter of fact, the wisdom and instruction of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, this is going to be, this is the book, Wisdom of Solomon. It's going to be chapter 5 and verse 20. And it reads, Slakia. This is the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 8. And it reads, I prefer her before scepters and thrones, and esteem riches, nothing in comparison of her, neither comparison neither compare I unto her any precious stone, because all gold in respect of her is as little sand, and silver shall be counted as clay before her. I love her above health and beauty, and choose to have her instead of lights. For the light that cometh from her never goeth out. All good things together came to me with her, and immortality, it's lucky, innumerable riches in her hands, and I rejoice in them all, because wisdom goeth before them. All right. So you can have everything. You can have riches. You can have true wealth. All right. You can have victories in wars. All right. If you have the wisdom, and if you have the wisdom for and of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right. That's where wisdom lies in. You don't go. Don't go into a business plan. All right. You don't have a business without a business plan. It doesn't exist.
That makes sense.
Right? It doesn't exist. If you have no plan of action, how are you going to ever reach the goal? You don't have a goal set. You don't have a target. If you don't have a target, therefore you have no wisdom, because you don't even know what you're striving for. God.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So that right there lets you know that what goes on in these scriptures, these instructions, these laws, statutes, commandments that were written aforetime for our learning, this is our instruction. This is our way of life. This is wisdom. And, through patience, which is suffering, and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So right now, this scripture also blows out the fact that the Old Testament is done away because the Old Testament and New Testament go together. It's part of consuming the whole world.
God.
And getting this wisdom and knowledge and understanding that through the scriptures we might have hope, but that hope is that salvation that we're striving for.
God, that's right.
So, yes, I'll read it again. This is Romans 15 and 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
Yep. Everything that's written aforetime was written for our learning.
That we through patience and comfort of the scripture might have hope.
So that we have hope. We have hope to see salvation.
Because it's that experience, it's that experience that, so we don't have to go through the same, so we're supposed to not have to go through the same mistakes that our forefathers went,
God. Matter of fact,
that's also why it's better being
outside before we get off, before we get
God.
back to where we're going.
Can you pull for me, when you guys pull for me, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse 8?
Yeah.
And I'm going to read this right quick, too. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 1 and verse 5, and it reads, a wise man will hear and will will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attend unto wise counsel. All right. So you should increase your learning and attend to a wise counsel. How do you increase your learning? By watching videos. If you see brothers out on the highways and byways, all right, adhering to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Holy Bible, which is for the nation of Israel. All right, so that you can be better. You can be better, a better man, a better woman, a better son, better daughter, better father, whatever you want to be better in. All right, in righteousness, it's going to be in this book. All right, and if you want to do wickedness, it's going to be in this book, but it's also going to give you your judgment too. Because it'll tell you exactly what you're going to get for following after the wicked ways. It has duality for the masses. You know? You got a free?
Yeah. Did you want that was on 8
Okay.
and 8 first?
I had it.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 8. If a man desire much experience, she knoweth things of old, and conjectureth aright what is to come. She knoweth the subtleties of speeches.
She knows the subtleties of speeches. She knows things of old. All right. So everything that was written for time was written for our learning. So therefore, she knows the things of old. All right. And the subtlety of speeches, it doesn't matter what dialogue that you're speaking. All right.
And can expound dark sentences. She foreseeth signs and wonders, and the events of seasons and times.
Not only can wisdom unlock this truth, all right, unlock the code, all right, that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has set up for his nation to understand, you know, through Apostle Tahar on down, but also the end again, seasons from seasons.
All right, this is Wisdom Solomon 8 and 8. If a man desire much experience, she knoweth things of old, and conjectureth aright what is to come. She knoweth the subtleties of speeches, and can expound dark sentences. She foreseeth signs and wonders, and the events of seasons and times.
Signs and wonders and seasons and times. So signs and wonders, the signs that are written in this book, the seasons and times that are written in this book, those dark sayings that are written in this book. All right, to understand the parables in this book, to understand wisdom as a whole. All right, you're going to find it in this book. It's going to help you navigate through these many different choices. All right.
And sorry, lost my thought. This is going to be Book of Proverbs, chapter 4, and verse 11 says, "I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in right paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straightened, and when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Take fast hold of instruction, let her not go, keep her, for she is thy life." And
No, Salaki, I got it.
enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away.
All right. Hey, so Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said, avoid evil, avoid wickedness. You know? And every manner. He didn't say some things, he's saying all things. You know, whether it be smoking that cigarette, smoking that blunt, popping that one chick that your homeboy's dealing with.
Right.
You know?
And wisdom's gonna be that path to righteousness.
Right.
It's gonna lead you there. It says, according to Isaiah the 33rd chapter, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of the time. It says, when thou runnest, you will not stumble.
Right.
Gonna keep us, on, running smooth.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians.
I got one more. This is the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10, and verse 21, and it reads, "For wisdom openeth the mouth of the dumb, and made the tongue of them that cannot speak eloquent. All right. So this is what wisdom in every single case, shape, and form has led men. All right. And leads kings. All right. There's nothing else that's going to lead you to salvation. Because Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is wisdom. All right. And you go back into Wisdom of Solomon, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 28, it reads, "For the power loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom." All right? Go ahead, Salaki.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 14, verse 33. For the power is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints.
Con. So Yahweh Shem Yahushua is not the author of confusion, but the power of peace. All right? Roughly paraphrasing scripture, didn't he said, I'm the power of the living, not the dead? You know?
And therefore, he's not going to be, giving you instructions on how to die,
Con.
This is his instructions is, to getting that eternal life. And going back, that's what I had a comment on. Wisdom knows all speeches. This word is getting brought out not in only every other language, any language that you can think of, but it's also like inside of like the slang or whatever type of way that you speak, is being brought out to where you plan upon tables,
God, where you can understand and receive it, if you have the ears to hear and the eyes to see.
So it's breaking all those barriers.
God.
All right, next is 2 Timothy, the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 16. All scripture is given by inspiration of the power, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of the power may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works.
Hey, God, that shoots down, that one script shoots down Sakari. Whatever his name is. If you want to be a rapper, you might as well be Safari. Put off your fringes and just go ahead in the rap game. Maybe you'll have a couple of bars for him. I think not, but whatever. This is the book of Revelation. This is going to be chapter 3 and verse 20, and it reads, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him, and he with me." All right. Continuing on, verse 21. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. All right, so if you have an ear to hear, all right, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua said if he's knocking at the door, all right, he's knocking at the door. You gonna let him in? All right, you pass by brothers on the highways and byways, and you find out that you're an Israelite. Are you ready to start discerning the truth? Are you ready to make a choice? How you want to live? Who you're gonna live for? What are you living for?
Your spirit's gonna wake up.
Con. Are you just gonna stay in the same niggerisms that you're in? You're gonna continue to be, I'm that dude. I'm that dude. Don't get me wrong, like, we live in this world, all right? we live in the world. We're not of the world.
Second Esdras chapter 7 and 16 says, "Why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is to come, rather than that which is present? Then answered I and said, O Lord, that bearest rule, thou hast ordained in thy law, and the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish."
Come.
So why don't you consider, what you guys are so focused on the now, getting you know getting money right now, that you put off, the kingdom, striving for that kingdom. That's what the majority of the 2/3 do on a on a daily basis. They're looking for,
Get that
for
back.
today. They just living for today. Living with that you only live once mentality. That there's no they're not gonna have to pay recompense for anything that they do.
Come.
And so why don't you can, instead of getting out of that mindset, why don't you go into kingdom mentality, and start striving for the ways of the Lord, and it tells you plain and simple right there. The righteous are gonna obtain that rulership, and the ungodly gonna perish. And that's going back to Zechariah 14 and 12.
Come.
And
that's and that's another thing. Like when you be out and about and you hear people saying, you hear so-called men saying or so-called women saying, "Hey, what's up, king? What's up, king? You ain't no king. You have no wisdom. You're not even striving to be a king. You're not striving for the mastery in any way, shape, or form." All right? And I know that for the simple fact you ain't got no beard on your face, even though it looks like you just shaved. All right? Your hair is all lined up, and you're speaking abominable things as you're smoking on that blunt or that cigarette.
we get example. This is a Second Esdras 7:18. It says, "Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer great things, and hope for wise. For they have done wickedly, have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wise."
Oh.
It says, "And he said unto me, There is no judge above the Most High, and none that hath understanding above the highest." So for my thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are not your ways. And going into we suffer the straight thing, but we looking towards the kingdom. And then the wicked, they gonna suffer the same things that we suffering, but they just not gonna see the bigger picture.
Romans chapter 13, verse 11. "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believed." So now that you know, it's time to snap out of it. Wake up. It's time to get with it, and it's time to go. Because salvation, well, first comes the judgment, which we're going through right now, but salvation is at the doorstep. And you got to get this wisdom, otherwise you're not going to be able to open that door and receive your reward. So next we're going to go to
let me right before go to that next one. This is back to Second Esdras 7 and can be verse 21. It says, "For the Most High hath given straight commandments to such as came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment." It's plain cut out. You go into the laws of this book, and you're going to get, what is either going to preserve you or destroy you.
So, like I said, it's time to wake up and leave all these worldly thoughts and things behind.
Hey, this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10, and verse 9. And it reads, "Be wise be wise, slack it, but slack it, but wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her. All right. So you could save yourself a lot of pain if you look unto wisdom, whether it be the pain of losing a job, whether it be the pain of losing your family, you know, losing a child or whatever, whatnot.
You know, because what is death? You know, death should be, you know, something. When a family member dies, you should be rejoice for them because they going back into their original state, you know, to their lot, you know.
So that glorious
Right.
body.
They're gonna be whole again.
This is Isaiah chapter 55, verse 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
God, the word of Yahweh Shem Shai is going to prosper no matter what. No matter what you say, no matter what I say, no matter what these brothers say, no matter what anybody says. All right? Even Apostle Tahar, you know, and he's the leader of Israel. Yes, the true leader of Israel for you other fake ass Israelite groups out there. All right? It is the 144% doctrine. All right? 144% doctrine. The 1/3 is going to come through the teachings of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai from Apostle Tahar on down, who teach the same doctrine. Like I said, that's all right, I just got I'm just trying to keep it together. For real.
That's what it is though. And you can't knock it because you know as it spiritually reveals itself, you know, to those who are worthy of it. You know, those who are preordained by the Most High.
Apparatus that would be those men.
So either you get it or you don't. I forgot. I just lost track of where I was.
I have a specific here. This is Romans chapter 2, verse 11. Where there is no respect of persons with the power. The Bible tells you that he doesn't care about your feelings. He doesn't care about what you think. All that matters to him is whether you are going to obey or disobey. There's only two choices. There's no in between.
Hey, yeah, that's the that's the clay. All right.
What Job 13.
Yeah, you pulling it.
The potter and the clay.
Yeah, potter and the clay.
That's Jeremiah. Jeremiah 18:2.
Yeah.
Or I could pull Sirach 33:13.
You said you got it for that. Oh, God. Potter's clay. Got that. Yeah, you can do that.
All right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 13. As the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him, to render to them as liketh him best.
And what is that?
Going against your free will period.
God.
You know.
Hey.
It's how and that's how man is supposed to live, you know, by what pleases the Most High best, you know. That's our duty.
God. And didn't he make Yahweh Hashem Yahushua made a vessel to honor and dishonor?
Right.
You know? And matter of fact, it's lucky. This is the wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15 in verse 7, and it reads, "For the potter tempering soft earth, fashioning every vessel with much labor, for our service. Yea, for the same clay he maketh both the vessels that serve for clean uses, and likewise also all such as serve to the contrary. But what is the use of either? Short, ask reflex. Short, the potter himself is the judge. All right. And how about Shem Yahushua is the judge? He is the potter. We are the clay. All right. All these vessels on earth, whether they be of the elect or not of the elect, whether they be chosen of, whether they be of Israel's seed or not of Israel's seed.
The heathen nation, or you know, or an Israelite nation. No, it said that we came from the same clay.
God.
But what's the difference in the clay? Because that's what matters. You know, the difference in the clay is the spirit.
God.
You know, that's what the difference in that clay is.
Or paraphrasing, can an Ethiopian change its skin? Can a leopard change its spots?
Right.
You know?
You can't be good if you was just brought up to do evil. You know, if you was better yet said, if you're created to do evil, there's no way in hell you gonna be doing righteous.
God.
You know. Got something?
Yeah, you got something.
Yeah, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 28. And it reads, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
Right.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing to say about that. Yeah, it's enough said.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 15 and 16. It says, He hath set fire and water before thee. Stretch forth thy hand unto whether thou wilt. Before man is life and death, and whether him life it shall be given him. So what you want to do? You want to do this like red pill, blue pill, but one kills you and the other one, you know, preserves you. The other one lets you go into the kingdom. You know, so you have the choice. You know, that fire being destruction, and the water being, you know, the living water. You know, and this truth. You know, and the right way. You know, but it's ultimately, you know, you're already predestined to go where you will, but you have that option. You know, especially being an Israelite.
This is the book of Luke, and this is going to be chapter 13 and verse 22, and it reads, and he went through the cities and villages, teaching and journeying to towards Jerusalem. Then said one unto him, Lord, are there few that be saved? And he said unto them, now this is Yahweh Shai speaking because it's in red, and it reads, strive to enter in at the straight gate, for many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able. All right, and why won't they be able? Because they did not adhere to wisdom. They leaned up. They were leaning upon their own understanding. All right. Verse 25. When once the master of the house is risen up and hath shut the door, and ye begin to stand without, and to knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. And he shall answer and say unto you, I know you not, whence ye are. All right. So Yahweh Shem Yahushua in that day is going to say he doesn't know you. All right, because you didn't adhere to the wisdom.
Or you put them off for so long that now it's that old friend that you ain't talked to in years, calling you about. I ain't gonna say what's up to you, how you doing and everything. Just called you asking for some money.
God.
And that's the prime example of that, modern day.
Hey, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 28. For the power loveth none but him that dwelleth in wisdom.
Right. And that wisdom going back to his word, back to the truth, back to the laws, statutes, and commandments.
All right, and we know it's not going to be kept perfectly, but you got to strive.
Right.
You got to strive for perfection.
Yeah, how about you? I'll try another good time again.
Come on. Yeah, once again, are we not the clay and he's the potter?
Right. So we're in debt. We're indebted to him. With what? With the service.
Come
on.
And it's ordained just as he wanted it. You doing the things you did in your life to get to this point right now, to watching this video, whether you accept it or deny it.
Well, it says you can never go too far for the Lord because there is endless endless blessings that He's given us.
God.
So we're forever indebted to that. We're forever indebted to Yahweh Shem Yahushua sacrificing Yahweh Shai. First of all,
his only begotten Son.
He was pleading for with the Father to to keep us.
God. And he rendered that the lamb, the perfect sacrifice, a lamb without blemish. All right, as it's deemed for in our law, that we need a lamb without blemish. You have something?
This is the book of St. Mark, chapter 3, verse 35. For whosoever shall do the will of the power, the same is my brother and my sister and mother.
God.
That's your real family.
Not to say that we don't love our families here on earth, but at the same token, same time, read it again.
This is the book of St. Mark, chapter 3, verse 35. For whosoever shall do the will of the power, the same is my brother and my sister and mother.
Those are the people during these times, that we know spiritually are going to take care of us because we're going to have our own, family members, turning their back on us and, giving us up to, to the ops. And these are the people that we're going to be able to trust in these times with the stress coming,
God.
So if your current family, if they're not in the truth, then they're not your family.
Hey, it might be your physical family, but friends. How many of us have them? Friends.
And you can't really consider them all your friends.
God.
Because they're not really there for you. They're just there for face value,
God.
They're there for a benefit.
They're there for likes.
Right. To get likes, you might be a little bit more popular than them in the social media game.
Or can do for something, for something for them in the world.
You might be their connection to get into the club. You might be their ticket to the sports game. I don't know.
You just might be you might just be a person of a social network that maybe one day could have a benefit.
Right.
And if it's of the opposite sex, to get some cut up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But let's be honest.
Useful.
Exactly. She might be useful, he might be useful, or whatnot.
So you deal with them.
Come on. But in truth and honesty, can you count on them?
Right.
Think about it. Who can you count on? Or who do you think you can count on? And then once you think you can count on them, think about it again and put some scenarios in place. If they got offered a bag, would they turn you in? If a situation happened, would they hold you down? You know?
This is Book of Matthew, chapter 6 and 33. It says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God Yahweh and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought of the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof."
Rocket.
You know. So first seek out the kingdom. How do you seek out the kingdom? You know, going back to the ways, repenting, going back into the ways of the Lord, you know, and do things that's pleasing unto Him. It says, "Take therefore no thought for the morrow," you know, tomorrow, you know, of what's going on right now, you know.
God, you got enough problems today. Tomorrow will take care of itself, roughly paraphrasing scripture.
Right. So because that's where the until the day is the evil thereof, you know. Until the day of that kingdom, you know, this is the world we in, you know, is just we on that tiny, you know, Alvarado, we on that tiny little walkway, you know, to the kingdom, while you know, we got all this other, you know, we sheep surrounded by ravenous wolves, you know.
God.
We got all of them demonic spirits, all that other unrighteous and folly going around all around us.
Hold on, I'll get that for you.
What?
Matthews.
Oh, ravenous wolves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you already got it. I thought you turned from it. That's why.
That's actually back in straight game. This is Matthew 7:15. It says, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves."
Oh. Hey. Inwardly they are ravenous wolves.
Yeah, read it down.
No. You are probably already gonna get what I was about to say.
When you start breaking down, you usually break down the verse, you know, 2 or 3 down, just because, you know, that is on your script to say that.
God.
It says, "Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles?" You know. It says, "Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit."
God.
You know, and that's what you know, you got these other camps doing. They bring forth that evil fruit. They bringing forth that fruit that is, you know, is tainted, and you could tell that it's tainted because they under, you know, there's no order in their camps, and they the younger brothers coming up in those camps, you know, they just more off than their leader.
They wax worse and worse.
Right, and that's what it is. You know, you got Sakari and them. They talking about he had his little homies on before him. You know, they talking about Jesus Christ this and Jesus Christ that. Then Sakari come on the screen like Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, you know, flexing that like that's not the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah.
And he said, "Them is my niggas."
Right. Didn't know that the audio was on.
But you're absolutely right. That's what they are. Straight up to you.
Right.
You know?
Use one too.
God. You know, that's how you want to do it.
Kind of look at verse 22. We read this whole chapter. It says, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works.
God.
And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. If you say that you're doing this for the Lord, but you're not really doing it for the Lord, you're doing it for clout. You know, that's all you're doing it for your own personal gain.
I got a scripture right here. This is the book of Titus, chapter 1, verse 10. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. Verse 11, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake.
Hey.
You got your whole house going on. Your whole house going on. That was Passover. You had your whole house. You had your whole house going off in the Passover.
Yeah, she was just trying to make a little change
It was
on Passover.
It was Bible service girl.
Oh man.
Wasn't wearing shit, you know. If they was really, Israelite women, they wouldn't have been there in the first place. But if they was in order, they would have the head wraps, more clothes on.
Right. But hey, how Bashim Yahushua said this when it happened. He said he's going to send his people as sheep among wolves. And said exactly that what the brother just brought out. Matter of fact, if you still got it, go ahead and read it just one more time.
This is the book of Titus, chapter 1, verse 10. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. Verse 11, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake.
For filthy lucre's sake.
It's all
you kids.
false prophet, antichrist,
That includes IUIC, IUSUPK, Sakari, One Body in Yahweh Shai,
just as bad as
True Nation, Thus the Truth.
All y'all who don't teach the same doctrine as GMS. Creflo Dollar. All of them. If you not
miracle water,
right.
That's
Right. Your prosperity doctrine.
Selling miracle water.
Hey.
You talk about on the commercial. After this, I just got a check for $500. Like,
hey, you're gonna be with Joel Osteen in his Ferrari, right? I got one. This is the book of Exodus, right? Exodus. It's gonna be chapter 23, verse 20. And it reads, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee unto the place which I have prepared. All right. So who's that angel that went before us? All right. That is Yahweh Shai. All right. That went before us to prepare the way. He gave us the law, statutes, and commandments from his Father, Yahweh. Our Father, Yahweh. All right. To keep us in the way. But you have so many decisions, all right, of what you want to do and have so many so-called options to you, all right, that you're going to do what's best for you, right? Verse 21, and it reads, beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him. All right, so if Yahweh can't dwell in the sight of wickedness, all right, who you ignorantly may call God, Jesus Christ, or Jehovah, his son, Jesus, you call him Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh Shai, all right? So if he can't see wickedness as the Most High, do you think his son's going to be able to accept wickedness? Absolutely not.
So yeah, you could be prophesying and teaching, and so-called doing the work of the Lord, but is that going to save you from, still doing the abominable acts, still doing and taking part in all the wickedness, you take part in it? No, it's not. Because you're truly not a teacher unless you're living out the work that you're teaching.
Right.
And that work ain't gonna save you because you're not doing it yourself.
God.
That's them speaking vain things.
God. verse 22, and it reads, "But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice," I'm sorry, I'm gonna read that again just in case, yeah. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto Slakia. I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and a adversary to thine adversaries.
He didn't say go obey Biden's voice. You know, he didn't say go do what Kamala say.
With the
Yeah.
CDC and HPP and LAPD and
And tell you what your government told you to do.
right.
You know, because they want to go drive you somewhere.
God, you want to. You're so willing to obey everybody else, but obey the power that is for you. Jake, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Western Indians, Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Guatemalans, Argentinians, to Chile, Colombian, to Uruguay. All right, Mexicans. And your biblical nationality. Let's go over that right quick. Biblical nationality is Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. So-called Jew or so-called Negro would be Judah. So-called I'm underneath. Get to my
So-called West Indians would be Benjamin. So-called Haitians, Levi. So-called Dominicans, Simeon. Guatemalans, the Panamanians, Zebulun. Puerto Rican, Ephraim. Cubans, Manasseh. North American Indians, Gad. Seminole Indians, Reuben. Argentinian to Chile is Naphtali. Colombian to Uruguay is Asher, and Mexicans, Issachar.
You can't get into the straight gate unless you accept it. You know?
And unless your father's line goes back there. Right. So your father, you have to be of the seed of your father. Got another one?
Yeah, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse 12. And now, Israel, what doeth the Lord thy power require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy power, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy power, with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Verse 13, to keep the commandments of the Lord, and his statutes which I command thee this day for thy good. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's thy power, the earth also, with all that therein is. Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you, above all people, as it is this day.
He said, even you. Like America wants you, and how about Shimei Shah requires you from the beginning.
One for that upcoming
Draft.
right.
You and your daughters. She's not getting off. You want it to be equal, right? Goodbye.
It's not just gonna be your first son no more, or your
eldest son.
Eldest son has to go. They're gonna take your whole
God.
because what we come to learn in these last couple years, that they could call anything a crisis.
God.
And do as they please.
All right. It's that Aleister Crowley. Do as thy will. And so they do exactly what they want to do, as they will.
This is verse 16. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. For the Lord your power is God of gods, and Lord of lords, a great power, a mighty and a terrible, which regardeth not persons, nor taketh reward.
God. So Yahweh Shimei Shah, you can't bribe him. All right. There's no bag big enough. All right. There's no prayer deep enough. You can't make a promise to the Most High and say, hey, Most High, if you do this, I'll do this.
Yeah, because if you do that and don't do that.
Oh, well,
the consequence of that is
That's
at first your bait, you're tempting them.
God. Hey, but that's exactly what the Israelites did. This is why we're in the position that we're in.
They had promised not to, and didn't keep it.
God,
You went back on your word.
it was we are an example of what not to do.
Said circumcise thy heart. Well, how do you circumcise your heart? You gotta. That's talking about your mind, but you gotta cut all that excess bullshit out.
God, trim the fat.
Trim the fat. This is Matthew 6:22. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light.
God. The whole body shall be full of light if you keep your eye single on Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Not going to them other wayward doctrines, praying to all these other
False idols.
false idols, powers with no power, wood and stone.
Aren't
What
they?
you call power if you got no power?
God, he can't even move himself. Roughly
All power,
paraphrasing. We're going to get into that next. That's going to be the next topic we're going to do. Avaratazah. Idols.
What's the name?
All right, let's.
Brother, it's already there. It's already manifested in the spirit.
God.
How Elijah struck down, what's his name, Bilal?
Baal.
Bilal.
Whatever his name is, it don't mean nothing. I ain't got nothing else.
Well, this is the last one. This is Deuteronomy 11 and 26. Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing if ye obey the commandments of the Lord your power, which I command you this day, and a curse if ye will not obey the commandments of the Lord your power, but turn aside out of the way which I command you this day, to go after other gods which ye have not known.
God, so that's exactly what Israel did. And it was ultimately for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, his will and his way. All right? To make us an example. We had to be that example for these other nations of what not to do. And so we could receive every blessing that he wanted to give unto us. He writes the script. It's his way. He chose us. We didn't choose him. Avaratazah, we be of that number as elect men of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and of the 1/3, which that 144,000 is of the 1/3. All right. But you got something else?
This is the second Esdras chapter 7, verse let's start at 12. It says, then where the entrances of this world may narrow. Let me start at 11. It says, because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then where the entrances of this world may narrow, full of sorrow and travail, they are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them.
God.
So you can't get to righteousness, and that's in that precept. In those precepts, you understand how we got to righteousness, or how we got to this evil state,
God.
through sin.
And as a matter of fact, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai did that for Israel, all as one nation. And that was in taking us out of the great exodus of Egypt, where all of Israel was saved. But hey, we didn't adhere, so Yahweh Hashem Yahushai had a better way to make us adhere, as well as to be an example, because Jake is the former of all things,
right?
And goes back into a better promise that he promised us, all right, and not just the Levitical law, all right, and the Levitical priesthood that is on earth, And if you take them as shots, take them as a shot, you know, to those who don't teach the same doctrine of GMS, starting with Apostle Tahar on down. Take it as a shot. We don't care. All right? Because we stand firm in our belief. Firm in our belief. Abba Ratazah. We never stumble and never fall.
The only research question, your own teacher, you ain't got it right.
God. All right? I ain't got nothing else before I start on a tangent or something. All right? So we want to give all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to all the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 144% sincerity, to the men, women, and children, and to the Baasha Debadat, the house of David. To the next time, this is Men of Valor Camp. Select it, Men of Valor Camp, Shalom, Awal, Abal, Bathal.
Shalom.